No. I'm using. Why do I leave this here? Why?
Because you want information.
That's a good one. Yes, it is true. I want the information. What's the main reason? If that hand not there, what's this hand doing? If he decides to hit me, this hand will not protect this line. It would if he came out here, but if you bring this straight up that line, right up there, this hand will not protect that line worth a damn. So this hand has to be right ready. You know a boxing shoulder roll? I have to be really sensitive here if he decides that this isn't going to be an Arimi Nage, it's going to be a knockout. And so I'm touching him the same way he's touching me. And if I go passive on this, I just opened that whole channel up for him. And I'm completely open. So your basic rule of thumb is if you did an attack that's a strike, it's only a strike until it misses. The moment it misses, it's your defense and it's your antenna for telling you what he's doing. Okay? And so that is in fact what he's using against me. Okay? I am creating a need for him to stay connected here. And that's the end. If I let him feel that end, he knows he can't take that hand away, because if he takes it away, where is it? Boom! It's it. So he doesn't want to take it away. And now I can use that to get him to move himself. Does that make sense? So don't just go all passive because your strike moved. That's still something you desperately need, because this guy can't help you in that position. The same thing. Remember we talked about the seam? So the moment you hit the structure, you can't push or pull, but you can slide along the plane. So when this hand comes towards me, there's a point where I hit the floor through his structure. That is the time not to pull harder. That's the time to let it go up. So it comes in and then it goes up, and so does he, and now he falls into the strike and da-da. Okay? So, huh? What do you mean? Yeah, this way. But I mean, Aikido is probably way. Okay. Tell you what I'm going to do. If I really wanted to hit you, I wouldn't shake this way. I take this elbow this way, and I bring your head right into that strike. But since you're not doing Nage, I'd like to shake you this way, back corner, and let you make a step out. And as you step out, I wouldn't keep that down there. That's where all the bad shit is. So you want to recover. I actually was doing a Arimi Nage this seminar, and I got the guy in here, and I did a big balance break, bending my knees, and I got him down here, and then I walked away, and he stayed there. Boom! Generally speaking, and this is cross-style in martial arts, a relationship between your nose and their knee is considered a bad one. I think that's true in all the different arts I can think of. So, the moment I have him here, he wants to correct. Your ukemi is not unlike being a punching boxer with the sand in the base. If there's nothing acting on you, you're coming back to here. I don't think it's that different with judo. Okay? They get you tipped over, you want to get back. The whole basis of this throw is his desire to get back. I get him tipped, and he comes around and he's like to get back. So he's supplying all the energy for me. I'm not working hard on this. And then he wants to, that's a nice Kizushi. How hard am I working? He's doing all the work. But if he decides not to work, it's okay from a martial standpoint with me if he goes here and then he freezes up and fights me. Because that's the first thing's in my head. And then look at this. I have that. I have a knee takeout. Then I have an elbow. Do you really want to stop there? That's nuts. Okay, so it's movement. And this creates, for people who are watching, for people who watch this art from outside, they're going, he's just telling himself. I don't care if he goes with me. But the art is goes with me, and we create these beautiful movements. But if he decides to just freeze up at any time, he just stopped his. If he freezes up in any position, he lost his freedom. And at that point, he's lost his ability to defend. Okay? So, martially, that's fine with me. But if I'm trying to teach a technique, I need to flow with it because I'm trying to show you our technique and not how to knock somebody out with my knee. That's not what we're studying. So I need him to move and take you chemically. Does that make sense? Anybody having trouble with this? Okay, why don't you come out and do it? Come out the middle. Pick somebody. Not bad. That wasn't bad. Do you see all the airspace where his fingers were? That's kind of tension, isn't it? You know, if you were holding a baby, would you be going, or would you just shake? Yeah, shake scared me. Shake. Shake. Okay? The only thing that I would change is when you had him here and he's falling to you, you didn't move that foot, so then you had to actually haul him around your own foot because you were in the way. Some of the old styles just stepped back and turned. More post-war Aikido, a little more the way I was taught. Turned around and left that a big space. I did all of those work. Okay? So once he's falling to me, I make that a space. Remember the Ikkyo character? He's falling into space on his Ikkyo. In order not to fall, he starts coming around, and as he comes around, he steps through that way. Okay? So, a little more relaxed, but that was it. You got him, flowed. So just relax. You don't have a problem? Any other questions?
I don't have a question. I want to try with someone maybe.
Okay. I want you. So you're big. Go ahead. You guys tried a couple more times.
Howard, I got my sword. Excuse me 1 second. Say goodbye. There you go. Eric's going bye-bye. Bye-bye, Eric. It's Eric's birthday, everybody.
Thank you. Okay. Now, once again, we're skipping how you're going to get here, so we don't have to deal with how to not be hit. So you've managed to get here on your entry to the Kodokai. Okay? And we did spend some time yesterday about how to lead him out, but it's not this. It's actually this draw. Okay? So from there, you had that on lead? Yeah, it's better for you initially to keep it down. You climb on top of me there. It's really easy for me to go that way. So I like to keep my elbow down, which is what protects me against your elbow strike, for one thing. And then I'll loop this over. I get like this. There's a nasty version, old school nasty version of Kodokai, which is to trap it in here. And when you turn, it's a hippotemi on their elbow, and it just cranks the crap out of them, shoots them out there, then you hit them, and then you go. We're not doing that version. Okay, so in this case, no lever. And I'm actually, the main connection's here. This is just keeping him kind of caught in it. And then I lead him out, and I want to see what you do after you do that. And is this a good place for you? That's the problem we are currently going to address. So what would you do to solve that problem? Pushing into me is not a good solution. Okay? Because if I feel the push, here's what's going to happen. Does anything that's happened in any of the classes this weekend convince you that pushing is a good idea? So, there are several, actually a number of versions of Kotegaeshi. The one I just want to show you involves taking him out here. What am I standing on right now? In terms of the geometry. I know I'm standing on my feet, but in terms of the geometry, I happen to be standing on a certain curve. Who said that? You get points. So if I were to step out on the Zekio curve and drop this hand, I cut like a sword, basically. He falls down. So this is just one particular Kotegaeshi. Your basic rule on Kotegaeshi, since there are so many variations, so every style has certain variations. Oh, you have to have your fingers touching those knuckles. I mean, God, I've heard everything. But my experience, and every one of them says this is the proper way to do Kotegaeshi. Right. Our way. My experience has been that every Kotegaeshi that somebody ever taught me, I mean, somebody who knew what he was doing, they all worked if they were used in the right situation. And I never found that, the guy you were in class, he said, that's wrong. Well, I was thrown really easily by a guy at another dojo who did precisely that. I fell down just fine. So I'm not worried about that level of detail. But there's one thing that should be in all of them. At no point, hold this hand up. Here, you can do your partner a world of good if you hold that hand right there as a reference point. This hand, in a martial situation, would like to hit you. So, the one thing I think any Kotegaeshi do has to have in it is that there should not be any time when that hand comes closer to my face. If that's happening, even if it worked, you got knocked out while you were thrown. So this particular version will fit the bill, because I'm going to move away from that hand. And as I do it, why doesn't he follow me? He could follow me. This is where, tell me why this something. As I step back, this hand stays here. I'm not doing this. I'm doing this. Oh, yes, couldn't follow me because I was in the space. Then, this is one of the... This is still an older style one because I actually need the atemi to do it. Okay? But I consider this is the one I'm trying to get my students to do this as their most basic one. And the other ones are variations because it's got really good geometry. So I lead them out. When I step back, I throw the atemi so he can't be in that space. And then we go, whoop. Give that a try. And then we'll actually address what makes it work. Remember how Popkin Sensei at one point was saying that, this was good, but this was better? Okay. So if you lead him out a little bit, if you pull back against that, guess what gets pulled into you? So I would move with it. There you go. But if you only go a little, and then you move here, he's in your face really fast. So I would actually lead him out as far as I could get him to go, and then be over here. Woo, that's much better for me. Okay? So this is really fluid. If he cuts this, we go in here, right around here, boom, and then I'm way over here on the Zekio curve. You're really kind of far away. There's no chance of hitting me with that other. So don't shorten it up too much because that's faster than you want. My rule of thumb, one of the things that people forget is that these hands can cross center line. And in fact, almost everything Popkin Sensei did had this hand crossing center line, this hand crossing center line. That's why the guy gets all screwed up. But a lot of people forget. So this is my left hand, and they'll go this far. Just as it hits the center line, they're turning, and you're face to face. But if I can get this left hand to maybe go out in front of my right hip, when I turn, he's there. See, he's not facing me anymore. So it makes it really easy to get him going this way, me going this way. Hard for him to follow. Okay, so give it a try and turn a little more if you can. Now, do that collapse? None of it. But you feel him straight into you. Please, have your way with me. At no point. I don't even have time to react. I can throw the attorney now. I can throw the attorney now. I like the one that don't see it, so just move. Isn't that wild? Okay, guys, I'm going to give you a technical detail. This is just cool. It doesn't matter where I do the atemi. I can bring him around, stop his motion here, move out and throw. The one I happen to like a lot is that I start the atemi before the arms go on. So what's happening is the start of the atemi is coming up, and visually, it's behind this. And he won't see it until I move the hand. It's a really surprising atemi then. See that? So I come from underneath the arm. The big mistake that I see everybody makes is they think that they have to move this arm in order to throw the atemi. I'm old enough to remember an educational toy from my youth, which we call Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Yes. You would really like not to be. Do you remember? We can't do it. And everything's going. And eventually one of the heads flew off. I don't ever want. Once I started here. I went to all the trouble of getting off the line. Do I ever really want to be back to the Rock'em Sock'em Robots place where who knows who's going to win? So, Ledyard, I'm going to start the atemi before I move that hand. So that this foot and this hand move at the same time. And then, wobble! That's the one I have personally found to be the most effective. Basically what it's like is guys, listen. There are some versions of this technique. When you see them, you think the person is taking this hand this way, then this way. What is the problem with this? Okay? The Kaishiwaza on it is the moment she takes that hand over there, I am here. Okay? So, it doesn't really go over there. Where this is, see it in front of me? If this hand moves relative to my center, I'm opening myself up. And while I'm busy trying to do this, she steps in behind me. Give her that open. Very good. That is correct attitude. See, she's going to punch me out. So, look at this relative. I didn't move that. I moved me. And to make sure she doesn't follow me, this attorney goes here. Then it cuts like a sword. These arms didn't move. I moved. Okay? If you have a sword, where's your sword? Never ended up over here? If it's doing an angle cut, it's there. If it's doing a rising cut, it's there. But it's always here. Okay? So, I am not going to take this over here I am going to lead her till I feel like she's gone past me a bit. I'm standing on that ego curve. I am now going to step straight back and launch this hand so she can't follow me, and then just take her continuously on her ego curve till she falls on her butt. Tiny bit more, then I want to show you another Kodogashi. Then work on your and then the other this is a different matter. Yeah, way in front. Okay. Good. Now that I got you to do that particular Kodogashi, I'm ready to talk about why I had you do it. What if you get the guy, come with it, come with it, come with it, come with it, and now when I go to move, don't put that down there, too tentative. Okay. When I go to move, he doesn't want this hand to move. Sit down. New uke. This is the quality of the touch part. Remember we were talking about, we had him floating, okay? When I touch here and I rest on it, be strong. Don't let that move. If I try and move this hand, he says no. But when I touched it, I connect. So why don't I touch and just move me? So now let me do it. Or feel different?
Yes.
So that float we did back here, I'm also floating this. There's the down. Here's where it gets sort of neutral, and see how he's getting lighter here? That's happening out here now. So most of the time when I feel people do this, they're already thinking about the throw. So they're already actually thinking down here. They're getting ready to crank that and throw me on the ground. Where did that energy go? Right into your feet, into your support. So actually what I'd really like is to make you lighter while this is happening. That's way easier. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. Have your partner be the partner from hell. And you're actually going to be stronger if you don't look down too far. Okay, down. I want you to come up, grab that thing and try and move it. And don't let your partner do it. Make sure that they're not letting you do this. And then come up and just touch and move you. And drop it. Go ahead. I hope people kind of get what I'm doing, because I can see that you get it. What I want you to do is the comparison between the wrong way and the right way, so you can really feel the difference. Both people can feel the difference. So, you can blow this thing from the moment of contact. If I come down here and grab that, who has who here? Yeah, we could do that, but actually simpler than that. Grab that. Who has who? This is one of the standard Kaishiwatsu. The guy grabs this, you run that, and you run that, and he's hooked. Why we're not per se grabbing? I might close my hand gently. He can wiggle around in there all he wants. He can run that spiral. And all it's going to do is tell me something different. See, what he's trying to do is lever with his elbow to get me up. That gave me the arm lock. Okay. So he's not affecting me. So it's very gentle. So try it. Come up, grab him strongly, and see how. Don't let me. Oh, if you let me do that, you pull against it. You open up the tummy line. It's actually smarter for you to extend and not that much. That's a kaishi attempt. I just want you to be shitty immovable. Okay? Because I don't want to have to teach the technique that would come off of that action. I just want you. I know everybody's had trouble sometimes running into this. And it's because of the quality of your touch. You're actually kind of grounded. You're countering. Good to me. I'm not countering you. I'm just immovable. That's a different thing. So if you can't stand stably and you actually have to do something to not let me move you, you have a problem. Okay? That's much more stable. You didn't push or pull against me. You were just grounded. So, okay. The moment I grab him here, I'm connected to that. I have actually, because he was so solid, I caught myself in his structure. I want to do that. Get in here. You feel the difference when I attack lightly?
There's nothing to resist.
There's nothing to resist. And yet we're connected. We both know we're connected. And his brain is waiting for me to do this, to get in there. He wants that feedback so he knows how to resist me or counter me. Resisting is really stupid. But he still has to have information about what I'm doing to do anything. Right? When I touch him and I don't give him any information, his structure starts to dissolve, and he's quite easy to move. Okay? So try grabbing strongly, and don't even try the movement. Just grab strongly and feel how different it feels to both of you. And like when I grab him that way, I go, I don't have him. I think he's got me. I don't want that. I want to be independent. If there's a theme to any of the stuff that Hopkins Sensei and I anyway have been doing, is that we're independent, portable units here. Now, we might occasionally connect, but I'm not going out there and doing stuff to him. I am moving me. So when you get out here and you glom somebody, where'd you go? Going after them. And if they're any good, you'll never get it back. Okay? So try it. Try grabbing, and then try that light touch. Try moving them from either one, and then when you're really convinced that that grabbing is not a good idea, get a light touch and just move you and see how effective that is. So here's one of the things that I wanted to show you. I keep saying it's not about the grab. So I want to really show you that it's not about the grab. It's about the connection. It's about how you're using that place where you touch to move their mind. So instead of doing the grab, you notice at the end you were squeezing my finger? Why'd you do that?
Trying to stay out of support.
I had him going off balance just with this draw, and as he went off balance, he's saying, "Oh, there might be a support there." He actually grabbed my finger. I didn't grab him, but as he goes off balance, that's. Everybody, try this real quick. Stand on one foot. And on a mat, this is always tricky because the mat moves around. It's easier on the floor. Okay, so you're making all those little adjustments. Now, do it next to the wall and take one finger and just touch the wall. How much easier is that? I mean, like, way easier.
Knowing the wall is there
has to do with the proprioception. Okay? When you add that extra point, it becomes part of your support. Even though you're not really pushing or pulling on, just the touch. You have another reference point for your balance, and it's really easy. So, I have this guy here. He's standing on 2 feet, which essentially is he's balanced on the ground. But he's very good at being balanced on the ground. It's hard to get him to go off balance. That was a cue. Hard to get off balance. Yes, good. Okay. But when I touch, what happens? I just got incorporated into his whole proprioceptive grid system. And I become part of his support. So how many of you have had somebody 2/3 of the way into a throw, the damn throw should be going, and they're still able to fight you? I mean, you know, if you're doing judo, this happens all the time. I mean, it's like, so half the time when you're at that point, if you actually just stepped away from it, they'd fall over. I mean, how many of you are having trouble standing on 1 foot here when no one's interfering with you? So, in fact, the reason they're not falling over is you're holding them up. You have become part of their support system. And even though you think you're trying as hard as you can to throw this guy, the reason not going down is because you are there and you have become part of his support. And the brain does this absolutely automatically naturally. So, if you looked at a good portion of what was done this weekend in terms of the techniques, a lot of what you're doing is you're setting up a situation in which they are now using you for support, and then you take the support away. Not like you're throwing the guy, you're taking the support away. So, in this case, when I touched here and connected here and then started to take him to the off balance point, the only thing he thought might save him was to grab my finger. Okay? So I want you to come over here and I want you to touch. And when you touch, go in a little bit. See? Now don't let me exaggerate. Don't be all fast. But you'll see when it touches, you see that? When it hit the shoulder? Now I know I'm connected to the center. At that point, just move you and see how it's over there. So there's no grab at all. So actually the challenge on Kodaish is to do it with that feel, but have a grab. I guarantee you, what happens is, there are other reasons why I would close my hand here, so it's not easy for him to escape, etc. But it's not the grab that's doing the technique. So I want to have the same light feel and use the grab. So the grab is a tool, but using it for power is a misuse of the tool. It's a way to connect, and it's a way to keep him connected in case he decided he wanted to break connection. He pulls that back, he pulls the striking. He pushes it out, he tells me he wants an arm bar. So when I'm doing this, it's not so easy for him. And I'm not actually glomming, so if he wanted to escape, he could drop it. And the moment he drops it, he released that strike. So this is not my problem. I'm not trying to restrain him or control him. I'm trying to connect with him. And then, when I connect and I move, his brain is still looking for that information. If I pushed here, it would have everything at once. But when I touch and just make the connection, it's waiting for the signal about what I'm doing. And when I move, it will chase the signal. That is exceedingly cool.
Because whenever you touch me, whenever you touch me there, it was just there. I felt my hand reach up and try and grab it.
Yeah, but that's...
I was trying to...
You can actually play with this a little bit. Put your intention there. Touch it. Put your intention there. Touch it. Put your intention... That's conditioned response. Okay? But he felt it coming in and he actually is going to meet it. That's actually why some of this stuff is working. Okay? So just try with your fingertips. So in this case, I'm going to touch and make a little wave. Go ahead. This is not watching. This is an exercise.
Okay, I can do a little bit more around.
Okay. You have 60 seconds to ask any question.
Teach me how to do everything you learned.
What's that? Okay. Yeah, touch and move you.
Okay.
There you go. Behind you, sir.
Sir, can you explain again your curve?
Oh, that's just geometry. So you have 2 points. You always have a line in geometry, right? At least you can leave. 2 points. There's a line. Same with the hips. There's a line. It happens. That line's pretty strong. Okay, but there is a curve, or set of curves, really, that run through those joints that go behind the head, and those curves are actually very weak. So if you look at almost all the Aikido techniques and Aiki-Jutsu techniques done this weekend, one of the ways you can look at the geometry is they are setting up a way to run that curve. There's only a few things we do that don't run that curve. When you see the guy going straight on his butt, that was perpendicular to that curve. There are a few of those. The one that Papi Sensei did, where he went up here and then he ducked under and disappeared. He kind of went straight over him. That's not that curve. But most of our people in Watson, I mean, when I did the Urimi Nage, that bringing the head up was also bringing him on his curve. And when he came forward, came forward into this, turn your face away, just like your nose. Where's my arm? It's on the magic line. And the way I was taught, this is not a federation stuff, but the way I was taught now is my throw is on that part of the curve. Okay? There are other ways to do it, but that's the way I did it. Okay, so you can think of the Kodagashin I gave you was specifically designed to be one where running that curve was evident. Okay? So that you wouldn't think that it had something to do with torque in his wrist. There are a lot of other Kodagashis. Okay? Wilkinson Sensei did a really nice one that was from here. Looks like we're frontal, except that when he rotated, we're not frontal. He's over there now. Okay? You know where that one came from? It came from sword. Came from sword. And one of the Shinai. Got a sword. Okay. Actually, do it from this side like this. So he came at me with a sword. My Urimi was so fantastic, I managed to get over here and not be killed. Okay? There is a Kodagashin that has to do with taking his sword and cutting his own legs up from underneath him. So the arc, it obviously can't pass through your head because this is bad. So it has to come up and over, down, and into his... Now you see the elbow? Wilkinson Sensei was hitting him with the elbow. All it came from was this. Now, you better take the blade fall, right? Otherwise you get hurt, right? So when this sword comes through your legs, do you want to stop it, or do you want to move your legs? See, so it's coming right through there, and he gets thrown. Okay? So we have 6 that I've tried to get my students to know, but the one we did today is the one I wanted to start with. Okay? There's another one. It crosses the line. Okay, you'll see people do bad versions of it like this. Whoops. The proper version is to take this with you, and then you step out, on the Ikkyo curve. And Watanabe Sensei did this one on me when I visited Hombu Dojo, and he threw me across Hombu Dojo with that, and not like that, in the air. I am flying across Hombu Dojo, and all I can hear is the little Japanese guys in the line going, oh. I don't think they ever saw anybody my size take that much air. Okay? So there's a lot of these, but the one I did is how to get this over here on the Ikkyo curve and just drop it into the floor. It's really simple. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.